You alright? You alright, baby?
Phil walks the tree line when the sun goes down. Boots in the gravel on the edge of town. Backpack rattles with a lantern and a map. Looking for the thing
behind it. And then 2 3-foot tall, 3.5-foot tall guardians with glowing red eyes were there.
Boys been chasing shadows in the midnight grass. But Phil just smiles at the cold night air. 'Cause something out there knows he's there. In the rustle of leaves.
Kid, I've experienced everything from angels to demons to ghosts to all kinds of other things I can't explain. I had my first Bigfoot encounter back around 2012 or something like that.
Chasing ghostly echoes in the pale moonlight, from forgotten forests to the deserts deep, where the old bones hide and the spirits creep. With a camera and courage and a trail to see, he'll follow any legend through eternity. Yeah, the world's full of whispers most folks never see, but they all know.
I think disclosure is inevitable for one simple fact. This is true. UFOs are real. You can ignore the truth, you can distort it, you can hide it, you can lie about it, but you will never destroy it.
Lights dancing in a cold black sky. Track band branches where the tall grass sways. Heard something breathing in the forest.
A guy standing next to my bedroom door, only at night, and he stood there, and I was 3-4 years old, and my mom thought I was crazy.
And when the fire burns low and the coyotes sing, you can bet he's hunting something strange again. Through the static and dark, through the myth and the lore.
Obviously, I believe that these things exist after the stuff I've seen. So you can't say to someone who's seen stuff, these things aren't real. Obviously, you know. But yeah, people keep telling me they're not real, but I know they are.
and free.
Are we being set up for a massive cosmic deception? Hey everyone, Phil here, Dogman Teepee Hunting. This Friday night on the Friday Night Files, I'm sitting down live with author, filmmaker L.A. Marzulli. We are climbing his 17 rungs of disclosure to expose what the government is really hiding behind those UAP hearings. The physical reality of crop circles and the chilling eyewitness accounts, including the giant of Kandahar. This isn't sci-fi, it is prophetic reality unfolding right now. Okay, I'm going to bring on our guest, L.A. Marzulli. I hope I said that right. I'm so sorry. I had terrible trouble with your name. I'm so sorry. Marzulli. Okay. How you doing? You all right?
Good, Phil. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Oh, no. Thanks ever so much for coming on. I'll just move us about onto a different screen. I've got a different backing as well. Look, check this out. Hold on. Look, 1 minute. I'll just show you this. I did have this backing on. I hope you like it. It's let's have a look, see if I can get it on again. I chose it specially. There you go. Rungs of Disclosure.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you so
yeah, that's it. That's much better. Yeah, no, it's been absolutely baking over here, LA.
Well, the weather is, I mean, globally, the weather is really bizarre. I mean, here in America, the fires in the Midwest and in the Northwest, I mean, in some ways unprecedented. The droughts continue, the flooding continues. It's just getting really weird, really strange.
Yeah, it's bizarre, absolutely bizarre. Just prior to actually coming on, I think everyone in the UK had a notification, and I'll just show you what it was. So we had this notification pop up, and basically it says, and everyone would have had this, I guess. It says, issued by the UK government, there is a very high risk of wildfires nationally. Residents, landowners, and visitors should not undertake any activity that could start a fire, including disposable barbecues, fire pits, garden incinerators, or fireworks. Even a small flame can rapidly develop into a major wildfire, placing lives, homes, businesses, and emergency responders at risk. So that was an alert sent out to every phone, evidently. It just goes to show how much I mean, their technology to be able to do that with everyone's phone is incredible.
No, it is. It's absolutely incredible. I mean, everything is, and this is why I believe we're in an unprecedented moment in all of history, because we are linked up in ways that, you go back 50 years ago, oh, that'll never happen. Well, it's happening here. I mean, you're across the pond, I'm in California, and it's like there's no static. The visuals are great. The audio sounds good. How does that work? But we're here, and we all just take it for granted.
It's funny, when I was a kid, because believe it or not, I know I don't look it, LA, but I'm nearly 60. I'll be 60 in December. Okay. And like I say to everyone, it's December 7th, but I only accept presents if they're wrapped, LA. Okay. Because and if you put it in a bag, it would be no good. I don't like the thought of having it in a bag because there's no effort. I like a little bow on it and everything. That'd be nice. But back in my day, and I'm sure I'm presuming you're about the same age. You look younger, actually.
I will be 76 in December 14th.
How old?
76.
No way.
Way.
And I'm not blowing smoke up your bum. Seriously, you know, you don't look at LA. You really don't.
It's the water. It's the water in the Santa Monica Mountains. I don't know, but that's
I think you got a point. You know, we use we get bottled water from the supermarket. We don't drink tap water anymore.
No.
Because there's so many heavy elements in there. You know, there's I mean, we don't have fluoride in this area, but I know a lot of people do still have fluoride in the water, which is a known neurotoxin. You know, it's only given in small amounts, obviously. But yeah, it's still not great, and there's so much scale build up with heavy elements. We decided, you know what, we're going to buy bottled water instead. Years ago, LA, I remember when it was just I used to be ever so excited. I remember getting a radio, and that radio had a light up red LED. Whenever it got onto a frequency, the LED would come on, and I was so chuffed enough. It was something out of Star Trek. I'd be running around the garden with this radio, like trying to get a signal and see the LED come on. You know, telephones were just landlines. I mean, it just goes to show Gene Roddenberry was way ahead of his time. When you think he had the first really mobile phone, the flip top phone, beam me up, Scotty. You know?
There it is.
And I remember him saying once, he was asked, why did you come up, how did you come up with the Star Trek spaceship, you know, that they use, the Enterprise? And he said, because he saw UFOs.
Oh, okay. There you go.
And one, he saw a cylinder type, and the other, he saw a saucer. He believed they were part of a bigger ship. And we're just seeing fragments of that big, massive ship. But it's so big we can't comprehend it. Yeah, I read that somewhere. I forget now where I read it, but I'm sure I can dig it out. Yeah, so you've got a book coming out. Just want to show people. Now, during this interview, I will be putting up these things. Now, anyone at home, if you're looking at this on a PC or if you're looking at it on a TV, grab your phone. These are QR codes. These will take you directly to LA's TikTok. This will take you to LAX. So that will take you to X, Twitter, X, LA's Instagram, and is also Facebook, his official Facebook there as well, and his website. Okay, so I'll be flicking those on and off throughout the show. Also, I just want to share the screen and get Amazon up, just so that we know what we're talking about. Let's have a look. Okay, yeah, right. This is the new one. I want to get this one. It's coming out soon, I believe. Rungs of Disclosure, but this is the revised. What's it about?
Well, in 2017, Tucker Carlson. This is the nexus of the book. This is how the whole thing started. I'm watching Tucker Carlson. It's a Friday night. It's always on a Friday night, right? It's like the weekend, right? So it's a Friday night until the last segment. He's got about 5 to 7 minutes left in the show. And he starts off and he goes, UFOs used to be the stuff of conspiracy theorists and tinfoil hat wearing people. But maybe we shouldn't think that anymore. Commander David Fravor, a former F-18 pilot, joins us tonight, who had an experience and a sighting with a tic-tac shaped UFO. And it cuts to Commander David Fravor. There he is. So it's a triptych. Tucker here, Commander David Fravor in the middle. And over here, they have pictures of UFOs, flying videos. And it really wasn't the tic-tac. It was what's been known as the gimbal they were showing. But it's there. And Tucker was interviewing Commander David Fravor, and he says, what do you think this was? Was it the Chi-Coms? Was it the Russians? Was it something that we have? He said, no. This thing moved from him at basically 50 miles in 2 seconds. Just boom. That would crush the occupants. But what it's doing, I got this from Bob Lazar, it's bending space and time. So there is no G-forces. And Commander David Fravor looks right at the camera and says, whatever I saw, whatever this was not from this earth. And I fell out of my chair. And that's the first rung on the ladder of disclosure. A couple of weeks later, Tucker Carlson's show again, he has Luis Elizondo. Pretty much a household name now. I mean, Lou's been all over everything. His book, which I have in my library, which is just, really a great read. Very easy, very good read. 1 or 2 sittings or 2 or 3 sittings, to finish it. Eminent. And talking about disclosure, and Lou Elizondo on Tucker Carlson states, yeah, we have metal from retrieved craft, and we've tested the metal. This is a piece of metal that I dug out of the Roswell debris field right there. So
hold on. Hold on. All right, let's have a look. All right, where did you get that from?
This is from the Roswell debris field outside Mexico. It's out in the middle of nowhere. If you don't have a guide, like we had Chuck Zukowski and Frank Kembler, and they took us right to the debris field. And part of me goes, is there still a saucer there? Of course, there's nothing. It's in the. I mean, when I say in the middle of nowhere, it is in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
And you really can't see too much, but the metal is folded in on itself. And we have all this in our film on Roswell. Let me show you. This is actually taken. Yeah, this is the actual piece of metal that we took out. It's in the palm of my hand.
Okay.
And we show that in the film. We show the whole thing in the film. So that's Frank Kembler, who's been out to the Roswell debris field numerous times. He probably has, see that little case right next to him right there? That little case? He's probably has 15 to 20 pieces of metal that he's dug out, including buttons, military buttons between 1940 and 1950. What's that doing there? So our guides were incredible. And, we were in a debris field, and all of a sudden Frank goes, hey guys, I got a hit. And so we go running out there, and we show Frank digging this thing out of the ground. According to Chuck Zukowski, UFOnut.com, I always give Chuck a plug, but UFOnut.com, we're the only film crew to ever actually show a piece of the metal coming out of the field. Other film crews have been there and they've staged things, but we didn't do that. I mean, Frank knew an area where to go outside the spiked field because, and this is somewhat conjecture, but these spikes are in the debris field. Why are they there? They're 12 inches. Why are they there? Because a metal detector will hit this instead of, where did it go? Instead of this.
Okay.
With the metal, right? And so these were, we dug this up. This comes from the Roswell debris field. And so Frank Kembler believed, as well as Chuck Zukowski and myself, that they pounded these stakes to throw off the metal detector. So Roswell was real. And Lou Elizondo, circling back to the second rung on the ladder of disclosure, the analogy is we're going up a ladder. Each rung is a new event. The first rung, Commander David Fravor on Tucker Carlson. The second rung, Lou Elizondo on Carlson, saying we have the metal. The third rung is former CIA guy who basically is on the record that the metal was tested and it's got isotopic. Christopher Mellon was there on Tucker, basically stating that we tested the metal and it's got isotopic ratios not found on this earth, and it just keeps going up. And so this book only has 17 rungs. We're about to do a second edition, and you guys are across the pond, so ordering books online or Amazon, it's like, it's really hard. But if you go to rungsofdisclosure.com, everything is there. Rungsofdisclosure.com, and you can see everything.
Okay, right. I've got all the links are in the description. All right. So for anyone that's wants to have a look, all the links are in the description. I'll try. Did the Amazon come up when I put the Amazon up before? Did that come up?
I did not. No, I didn't see it.
Okay, hang on. Let me just check. All right, let's try it again. Is that coming up?
Mm,
No.
no, no.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's a ball ache. Right. Okay then. Oh, hang on a minute. Ah, there we
There you
go.
go. Disclosure.
Right.
There you go.
There we go. That's the one. Okay. So, if people, I'll go back onto Amazon and I'll take it up. So, yeah, if people go onto that, that's the revised edition. But the Rungs of Disclosure, the first one, unrevised, the original is available. Okay.
Yes.
That is still available. So, if I was you, I'd definitely get out there and get it quite quickly because I think it is going to go quite quick. Right. So you were out. You wanted to go to Roswell. I'd love to go to Roswell. And you were with your metal detectors, and that's how you found this piece of metal. So, obviously, it it's an alloy of some kind. Just
Well, yeah, it's an aluminum alloy. I mean, we looked under a scanning electron microscope. I mean, this is hard science. I'm not making it up. And it's a known aluminum alloy. What was really fascinating is when, you start magnifying it. So we're up around 400 times, and you can see that the metal is folded in on itself. It's all folded in on itself. And the metal's about the size of my little pinky nail here. I mean, it's really small. I mean, you can see it. It's very, very tiny.
Yeah.
Very, very tiny. And it's folded in on itself. So a metallurgist comes in and she's got a machine that kind of looks like this. And she puts the metal in the testing area here. And it's what was astonishing. It kept going like this. Oh, it's this metal. Oh, it's this metal. Oh, it's this aluminum alloy. Oh, it's this aluminum alloy. No, it's this aluminum. And she was really perplexed and sort of vexed by it because she couldn't get it. She couldn't dial it in. And I said, have you ever seen this before? She said, well, it might be the machine needs calibration. So she went out and she did something in the machine. She came back in the same thing. When Chuck Sikowski took his piece of metal and had it tested, the same exact thing. It kept flipping like this between two known aluminum alloys. And I said, well, what do you think? And I showed her, she obviously had the piece of metal. I said, what would cause the metal to do this, to wrap in on itself like this? And she said, well, probably something like an explosion. I said, okay. Then she asked me, well, where did this come from? And I said, the Roswell debris field where the UFO crashed in 1947. And she had the deer in the headlights look. And that was just really pretty interesting. So, yeah, that's pretty cool stuff.
No, so it's strange for metal to, it would probably take extreme heat would do it as well.
Yep.
That would do it with metal. Because a lot of times when, if I remember rightly, my engineering days, you used to have, in the old type boilers, so heating boilers, there used to be what is called in a pilot light. Okay, so you'd have a pilot light and then a burner rack. But the pilot light would always be on, and there'd be a probe in the pilot light, and that probe would be made of a bimetal and it would be at a constant temperature. But when there wasn't any pilot flame to tell the probe, look, there is a flame, and to turn the burner rack on when asked for heating or hot water. If the pilot went out because maybe it was a windy day or something, then the bimetal strip, which would be two sets of alloy, and that would move against each other. And as they moved, they would create millivoltage, and that millivoltage would then send the electrical signal back to the solenoid, the gas valve. Now they use a form of rectification on the new one, which is rectification is basically you get a probe here, get a probe there, one's AC, one's DC. The properties basically of a flame are if you put electricity through a flame, it alters it from AC to DC. So, going by that little bit of alloy you've got, for it to fold in on itself, it must be made up of an alloy with maybe probably an aluminium and copper content within it, I would say. Just off the top of my head. Anyway, so no, interesting. Do you know what I find the most interesting, LA, is the nails in the ground surrounding it. Now, I wanted to quickly ask you about those. in that field, do you have any idea when you first came across them and you saw these nails, were they underneath the
Oh,
ground,
underneath.
underneath the
They're
soil?
buried. Yeah. So someone went
Right.
in and, and pounded these things down. So when you go over your metal detector, that's what you hit. And then you dig down
Okay.
and, so that the field was spiked. And we think it was obviously done deliberately. What was interesting is Frank Kimbler found 3 buttons out there. Again, down underneath several inches of soil. And these buttons traced from 1940 to 1950. They were aluminum buttons issued to military fatigues. What's that doing? In other words, if it's a weather balloon and there's nothing to see here, no. These guys went shoulder to shoulder, more than likely on their hands and knees, and picked up everything they could possibly see. But they didn't get it all. We actually show a clip of a disc coming down. It's all lit up. It's all lit up. It's just a big bright disc comes down, probably smuggled out. We show it in the film, but it comes down and it hits the ground once, then goes up. The second time it goes down, it just breaks apart, and you can see these like hundreds of like almost like a bullet fired out of a gun, just going like this. So it's a skip site. How do we know it's a skip site? Because, and I interviewed Jesse Marcel Jr. Okay, when Jesse Marcel Sr. was out in the field, and he's the 509th Bombing Group's, intelligence officer. This is not Elmer Fudd. We have a whole film on this where we interviewed the Marcel family. No one's ever done that, to the best of my knowledge. And the reason why we did this, to get their side of the story, because Jesse Marcel Sr. was the patsy. He was absolutely the patsy. So he got a call from this rancher, Mac Brazel, and he goes out to the field, and it's like this just everywhere, all this debris. So he picks up some of it and comes back, and this is the stuff of legend. But I believe it's absolutely true. And he showed it to his son and his wife. They took it, and when you look at the original, I have all these props on my desk. Give me a second. When you look at the original July 8th paper, there it is. RAF captures flying saucer on ranch in Roswell. There it is. No details on flying disc are revealed. Day later, the 9th of July, 1947, General Ramey empties the saucer. Ramey says, excitement not justified. Nothing to see here, folks. It's a weather balloon.
Yeah.
And in Spielberg's film, have you seen the new Spielberg film?
Yeah, I have. Yeah. I wasn't that impressed with it.
Well, the third trailer, a lot of people don't understand what that film is packed with information. Packed. I've seen it twice. I'm going to watch it a third time here, maybe this weekend. So in the third trailer, before the movie was released, Steven Spielberg is on camera talking about the film, and he goes, I used to think to myself, wouldn't it be great if the American people could find out whether all this was true or not? That's what he says. Wouldn't it be great if the American people could find out if this was all true? And then it cuts away to part of the film, and it cuts back to Spielberg, looks right at the camera, and he goes, it's all true. It's all true. And he says that in the trailer. And there's a lot in that film which can go right over the average person's head. For instance, the very last word of that film, and spoiler alert, I won't say it unless you want me to, but that is
no. I'll tell you what, no, because there is people out there that they can't get along for different reasons to a cinema, or at the moment it's like kind of pretty expensive for people, maybe, so no, I'll leave, but I have seen it, and I know what you're getting at. I found it interesting. I found the film personally, this is on a personal level, okay,
right.
So anyone listening, it's just my opinion. It was almost like the writer and Spielberg himself, and directing it, wanted to shove in every single flipping UFO alien trope he possibly could. near enough everything was covered. You had the artifact, which they were, was played a big part. This artifact did. So you had that in there. That was kind of interesting. I found that kind of interesting. You had the manipulation of mind manipulation with, didn't we? Do you remember with the group? The
Oh yeah, it was incredible. Oh yeah, absolutely.
partisan group. Let's put it that way. The partisan group. They were very much mind manipulation. So you had that going on. The only thing that didn't sit very well with me really was, once again, Spielberg was he was empathetic towards the aliens.
Exactly. He flips the bad guys in the ways. Yeah, but I tore that apart, and this is in one of the trailers, so it's not a spoiler alert because it was in the very first trailer. I called it the moment I saw that trailer. I went, oh my gosh, because the little girl, this little innocent prepubescent girl, probably 6 or 7 years old, laying in her bed, and she wakes up, little cardinal, tweet, 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 and there's a stag with the big antlers, right? A deer, stag with the big antlers, with a little raccoon and a little fox. And she gets up and she follows the stag out of her bedroom. And she's walking in the snow, but the snow feels warm. And then she sees the gingerbread house. And I said, that's not a gingerbread house. That's a UFO. And the stag is a gray. Sure enough, it's exactly what we're looking at. And Spielberg flips the script, and immediately, the grays are benevolent. The grays are the good guys. We're the bad guys. Excuse me. When is it acceptable to abduct a 6-year-old girl or 7-year-old girl and deceive her by presenting yourself as something that she loves, like a stag and a raccoon and a fox? When is that okay? That's called deception. Big time deception. And there's no parental consent, here at all. These entities are taking what they want and doing what they want. So the end justifies the means. Spielberg completely flips the script. It goes against everything I've written about, studied, created films about. No, these entities have a very, very nefarious agenda. There is a breeding program, and that's all in the book, Rungs of Disclosure. There is a breeding program that's been going on for decades. Hybrids are walking amongst us. And this all ties back into the biblical prophetic narrative. Be like the days of Noah. And what differentiates the days of Noah are the class of angelic entities known as the Watchers, who take wives, women, and they procreate with them, and they create a hybrid entity. Fallen angel, Watcher, human woman, creating a hybrid entity known as the Nephilim. Giants roam the earth. And by the way, I've been across the pond. I went to Avebury. I was at Stonehenge with Hugh Newman. We toured that whole area, and we went to the Long Barrows, and I got hit with an unseen force in the Long Barrows, which was not a good thing. I was with Maria Wheatley touring Avebury, and she's part of the whole other side of the aisle. But we had a great afternoon with her and had lunch and all this other stuff. Those sites are highly charged. They were not built by druids or human beings. They weren't. That's what I call that Nephilim architecture, fallen angel technology. And what people don't get is when you're at that circle at Avebury, it immediately calls to mind the Great Circle in Ohio. It's almost, where am I? Am I in Ohio, or am I at the Avebury Circle? And then when you look at Silbury Hill, I actually had fun with this. So we filmed there, and the hill, Silbury Hill's behind me. And I look at the camera and I go, am I in Ohio or somewhere else?
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know. So what's that doing there? They came across the pond. They went up through, they came across the Mediterranean, and I've been to all these sites. You can go to Malta, Gozo, huge megalithic stones, huge megalithic areas, polygonal shaped stones fit together. So Gozo, Malta, Sardinia, Tomb of the Giants. Seriously? Then you go to Sicily, and we filmed there at the Temple of Diana that was there. Then you go to the Balearics, and you see these huge towers that resemble the Silistani towers that were down in Peru. From there, from the Balearics, southern Spain, Menga, the largest dolmen in all of Europe, including England. The capstone, Phil, the capstone is like, excuse me, how did they move this thing? It's huge.
Yeah.
It's huge. Unbelievable. And then over to Portugal, Zambujaro, Cromlech Amandres, which is even older than America Stonehenge. And then you go up into England and then over to Ireland where you see the dolmens, the whole deal. And then over here, America Stonehenge.
Do you know, LA, the thing is with all of these mounds, like the Serpent Mound in the States, incredible place. But they're all connected. I believe they're all connected. You see, with Stonehenge, you've got two ley lines. We've got the Michael and Mary line, which runs from Cornwall all the way up towards Norfolk, and it intersects at a place called Royston. That's where they cross over, right? That place, and it's Royston where they've got the caves, and in these caves they've got all these. You can still visit them today. So next time you come over, have a little look. Royston, hit me up. I'll take you over there. It's not far. And then you've got all these strange, and nobody knows who actually carved all of these.
Not. Nobody. We hear this all the time. We don't know who these people were, but they just vanished due to climate change.
They just disappeared. They just disappeared.
I don't
and like Stonehenge lines up with a stone megalith in the States as well, doesn't it? Stonehenge does.
We actually have two films on this. We have two films on it. America Stonehenge. So basically, when you're in the center of America Stonehenge, okay. Oh, and by the way, before I even get to the punchline, they discovered a stone in America Stonehenge, okay, that was buried in what they call the Chamber of Ruins. So this stone was buried. Nobody knew it was there. An archaeologist is digging, finds the stone. They realize that there's writing on the stone, but they can't decipher it. It's unlike anything they've ever seen. It sits in the museum at America Stonehenge for about 11 years. So Professor Barry Fell, who, when he was alive, was teaching at Harvard University, gets wind of this and he comes out to see it. And he goes, that looks like Iberian Punic. I think I can translate it. And it says, to Baal of the Canaanites and dedication. When I'm in the museum with Kelsey Stone, and I'm asking, well, what's this stone say? Oh, that's the dedication stone. I just go, what did you just say? To Baal of the Canaanites and dedication? What is that doing in New Hampshire? It shouldn't be there. Well, let me show you. I think I have it here. Let me just show you this real quick. So when you go to America Stonehenge and you go there, let me just see if I have it. Hold on. Give me a secundo. I think it's here. Hopefully I've got it. So when you go to America Stonehenge and you draw a line from the center of America Stonehenge right there out to the summer solstice standing stone. So the summer solstice standing stone is a stone where the sun sets directly over that stone. Well, how is that possible? And then Kelsey Stone took that line and continued it. And what you see is you can see it going across the Atlantic Ocean. This is all done on Google Earth. It's been done a gazillion times. And Kelsey Stone finds himself with the same line from the center of his engine, New Hampshire, out to the summer solstice standing stone, across the Atlantic, through Ireland. He finds himself in southern England, and he goes, gee, I wonder how close I am to America Stonehenge. You want to know, to Stonehenge, England. That's how close he is. Look at the line. It bisects two of the trilithons.
Hold on. Keep it there. Keep it there. Ah, right. Yeah, got you. Yeah, yes. Wow.
That is not a coincidence. That is not a coincidence. That shows a connectivity between the sites. And in our film, Fritz Zimmerman and I, actually Fritz called it the Axis Mundi. because from America, Stonehenge, it goes to Stonehenge, England. It also goes to Chaco Canyon, New Mexico. It also goes to Teotihuacan, Mexico, then down to oh my gosh, what's that called? My mind just went blank. Not Sacsayhuaman, not Ollantaytambo, Machu Picchu. It goes right to Machu Picchu.
Oh,
Then it goes.
right, yeah.
Oh yeah. Then it goes to the pyramids on the Canary Islands, and then it finally goes to the Pyramid of Giza. I'm not making this up. So the film I'm working on, shows this. This is the Octagon Mound right here. This is the Octagon Mound. Okay.
Okay.
Right there. This is in Ohio.
Yeah.
This octagon here is 50 acres, and it's an unequal octagon, which means that the sides are not equal. So this unequal octagon encompasses 50 acres of land, 50 acres of land. The circle mound, which is right here, is 20 acres. The gateway, which is right there, okay, when you stand here at the circle mound and you look at the gateway, every 18 and a half years, the moon stands still, the lunar standstill sits in that gateway. It's advanced geometry. It's knowledge of an 18 and a half year lunar cycle. Native Americans didn't know about this. How do I know about that? Because I sat down with a Shawnee chief. We're told the Shawnee built this. He said, we didn't do this. We had nothing to do with this. We didn't have geometry. And if we did, we would have known about it. We would have kept a sacred bundle with that mathematics. It's complex geometry. In our film, which will come out maybe by the end of the year, I'm working on it now. I'm editing it.
The number LA. Have you come across the number 43200? It's central to popular alternative history and numerology about the Great Pyramid of Giza. Proponents claim the pyramid is 1.43.200 scale model of Earth, as multiplying the monument's original height and base perimeter by the number yields Earth's polar radius and equatorial circumference.
Yeah.
So, and it's been proven that this number is almost like a universal number for a lot of these megaliths and a lot of these structures. 43,200 seems to be a number.
I concur with that, and I'll tell you what's startling to me. You know, this whole thing with the pyramid. So this is the Khafre pyramid right here. There's the pyramid, right? So there's the Khafre pyramid. My webmaster made a 3D model for me. So the two scientists, which I had on my show, Biondi and Malanga, came on the show. And what they did is they had satellites coming over the Giza Plateau. And they did this multiple times. And what they discovered were these columns, 8 of them, you can see that, 8 of them, which go down 2,100 feet below the surface of the pyramid. This rewrites history. Because if the data holds, if all this is true, and there are these huge underground, they don't even know what this is, no idea, but it seems to be there. They've done multiple passes. It rewrites history. I have said the pyramids were generators, and everything was linked up. Everything was linked up before the flood.
LA, as you're holding that up, just imagine the bottom part there, right? Just say years and years and years ago, there was an aquifer, a water aquifer. Now we know the Nile wasn't where it was now.
Exactly.
So if that was an aquifer and water was running through there, with those coils leading up, and obviously the pyramid, it's known, had a gold dome at the very top of it.
Right.
A conducting dome. So I think you're completely right. I do think it was a generator of energy.
And you know what? You know, I mean, I get it. Egyptologists are all freaked out. Zawi Hawass is all freaked out. And I understand that. And who wouldn't be? But here's it's not about Egypt. It's about the people of the world. We have a right to know our true history. Stop lying to us. Stop telling us things that you guys just make up. And that's what they do. Just like the Octagon Mound in Ohio. Oh, the Shawnee did this. The Shawnee have no recollection of it. It's not there. They didn't know about the 18.5-year lunar cycle. They didn't know advanced geometry. And, you know, if you say something like that, oh, you're a racist. I'm not a racist. I'm just looking for the truth. So here's the deal, Mr. Hawass and all you Egyptologists. You create a half acre or a 1 acre right next to the pyramid, plywood platform, right? You're not destroying anything. Plywood platform, and then you bring in professional diggers and you just dig in one corner and you try to find one of these things. And all the spoils go right on that half acre. You have other archaeologists sifting. Nothing is lost. We're not ruining anything. We're not destroying anything. We're just removing the sand. And if we find one of these pillars, you got to rethink everything. Got to rethink everything.
Yeah. I think, you know, we're starting to realize, and people are itching. People are itching. They're not content with history as it's laid out at the moment. There is more, and people are starting to. I mean, this is what brings me on to the 2022 Congressional Committee. That was a turning point, you know, for a lot of people, because that was a turning point where officially it was recognized that they didn't know what was in our skies. And that was a big turning point, and people, you know, from a sociological point of view, for a lot of people and society as a whole, it was a turning point in thinking. It was a way of like kind of switching. Well, hang on, if they don't know, I've seen stuff I don't understand. I know that this doesn't work out. I know that ancient history is missing. There's a part of history that's missing.
I completely concur. May 8th this year was a turning point, in my opinion, an absolute turning point. Because not only, you know, we had all the whistleblowers come out, but now the War Department, the United States War Department, has shown us all these files, fuzzy videos, and then you've got Representative Tim Burchett, who said on the record, it would really be great if the American people could see what I saw. That's a game changer. And so we've had 5 dumps of UFO files, and I've covered these on my own show. We just did one yesterday with my unofficial co-host, Deb, who took a look at these files and started, you know, she goes through and animates some of them, and we talk about these things together. The bottom line is the phenomenon is real. When you have Anna Paulina Luna, Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna, look right at the camera and say the phenomenon is real, the phenomenon is real. UFOs are real, burgeoning, and not going away. They've been here for thousands of years. There are biblical references to them. You just got to know where to look and understand what the guy that's writing this is writing from a perspective where UFO and flying saucer are not part of the vernacular. When we go back into the Fatima apparitions in 1917, right? And people go, oh, it was Mary. Well, we have 2 films on Fatima. This is the second film, Strange Phenomena. I'll show you something which I guaranteed nobody in your audience has ever seen before, unless, of course, they bought the film. And I would encourage you to go to our streaming site so you can just stream it, streaming.lamarzulli.net. You can stream this for like under $5, okay?
Yeah.
So Fatima is this. There's these 3 kids. They're seeing something. The crowds are swelling. There's supposed to be a sign on October 13th, 1917. So the place is packed. There's like 70,000 people in the field. Nothing is happening. It's been raining all day. And finally, it stops raining. The sun comes out. But from let's say here's the sun like this. Cloud moves in front of the sun. And then out of that cloud comes a disc-like object, which falls like this and then goes back up into the cloud and then comes out again. How do we know this? Well, I'm going to show you something. But we have witnesses who said, I looked up and saw a dull silver disc. It's 1917. UFO and flying saucer are not part of a lexicon, not part of people's vocabulary. So I looked up and saw what? I saw a dull silver disc. This is a picture taken in 1917 on October 13th by the king. Remember, it was a monarchy until it was changed into a republic. But the king's photographer was Joshua Benolio. and Joshua Benoglio is sent out into the moors of Fatima. And you can see here all the people with the umbrellas. Look right there. This is a real photograph, untouched, the real deal. So it's been raining all day. You can see thousands of people, right? Now I'm going to show you something. What do you see right there? Right there. What is that?
Yeah, I see it. I see it.
We broke the story on that. We broke the story. Josh, the guy's name was Jose Machado. He's a professor of semiotics in Portugal. He had access to the Fatima archives. And so he went in, he wanted to see the photographs from 1917. No one knew where they were. 3 hours later, all the original glass plates taken by Joshua Benoglio in 1917 are found in a shoebox on top of a shelf in a closet. It's just like the Raiders of the Lost Ark, where they pack up the ark and it's gone forever. But he finds them. And in our film, we show him actually holding the glass plates in his hands. And we interviewed him in the film. He said, well, let me ask you something, Jose. Is that a scratch? Could it be a chemical burn? He goes, no. Whatever this is, and I'll show it to you again. Whatever this is in the film, is actually in the film right there.
Yeah.
And it's a disc-like object. And then you've got people, the eyewitnesses. I looked up and saw a dull silver disc. All the witnesses. I looked up and saw a dull silver disc. Well, what the heck is that? It was a UFO event. Say that, well, you're bagging on the Catholic religion. Look, people can believe whatever they want to believe. That's not what I'm saying. That we uncovered this. We broke the story on this. It's in our Fatima film, and it's groundbreaking. But people don't like that because it goes against the official narrative, which was it was Mary of the Bible. Again, believe what you want to believe. I'm not gonna argue it. People have a right to believe what they want to believe. If you want to believe the earth is flat, more power to you. All I'm saying is this photograph has never been seen by the majority of people, and it clearly shows a dull silver disc. And according to Jose Machado, who examined, I think there are all 12 glass plates, there are problems. There are other problems with those photographs. It clearly shows something else. And people were freaked out. First of all, it was not the sun that left its place in our solar system and descended. It was something else. And it was a local event. In other words, just the people of Fatima saw this. People 100 miles away didn't see anything. It was a localized event. But remember, in 1917, in Portugal, there may have been only one airplane, that's it. Most people had never seen any type of aerial phenomena. Not an airplane, not a blimp, nothing.
Yeah.
And this is why people are looking up and they go, I looked up and saw a dull silver disc. Well, what's this? This is a disc. What is it? It's a dull silver disc. I mean,
yeah.
And there's the photograph. So I can't do any more than that.
No, exactly. It does give it a lot of credibility because it wasn't, the coined phrase "flying saucers" wasn't known then.
No, the
disc UFO wasn't known.
That's all you would say, because UFO and flying saucer, that doesn't come into the lexicon, the global lexicon, until the mid 20th century. 1947, 1950, right around in there is where everything starts to kick off.
I mean, interestingly enough, prior to that, any anomalous aircraft would have been blimps. They looked like an airship.
Yeah, that's it.
Because I think as you pointed out in the past, and you're quite right, what we're dealing with is able to morph, and it interacts directly with the witness.
Yes,
it can show itself in a form which is acceptable to that time, to that era, to that narrative.
Yes.
That we're able to comprehend. like now everyone's seeing triangles, you know, a lot of times. So yeah, it's very, very interesting. I mean, what is the true nature, do you think? It's a big question, but what do you think the true nature of these entities, according to your research, and why is the New Age interpretation of them a dangerous component of the coming Great Deception, LA?
Yeah, I believe that what we're looking at is the handiwork of a very nefarious entity, extremely nefarious entity. And what was prophesied thousands of years ago in the biblical prophetic narrative, that there's going to be a one world global government and a one world religious system. Well, how is that even possible in modernity when we look at the tension between, let's say, Christianity and Islam? I mean, look at what's going on in Nigeria, right? So, I mean, how is that even possible? But when you have a nuclear event, and I write about this in Rungs of Disclosure, if a nuclear event happens on this planet, anywhere on this planet, that's a game changer. Why? Because we're all connected, like we talked about in the beginning of the show. We're all connected. We couldn't do this 50 years ago. We're all connected because of the internet, because of a satellite network above us. So we see news, we see everything in real time, at the speed of live, at the speed of light. It's there. We're talking. There's no static here. You know, we're having a conversation like you were sitting right next to me. It's incredible, right? Couldn't do this 50 years, 25 years ago, you couldn't do it. But I digress. Putin guys, Lavrov, General Lavrov, or I mean, not a general, but there's one general called the Armageddon General or something like that, or yeah, I think he's called the Armageddon General. They're threatening the use of nukes if Ukraine continues to bomb Moscow with the drones, which is what they're doing. I mean, they bombed one of their largest refineries, completely blew the thing up. So the Russians are already going, we're saber rattling with nukes here. If you have a nuclear event that goes off, and this is in the book, this is conjecture, but if you have a nuke that goes off anywhere on the planet, that creates the greatest climate of fear that humanity has ever experienced collectively. Why? Because we're all linked up. I just said it. We're all linked up. Yeah. What that's going to do is ground every single airplane. It's right back to COVID days. We're not wearing masks, but you're sheltering in place. No one's going anywhere. No one's doing anything because we're not sure whether World War III is about to happen. All airplanes are grounded. Guess what? You have a nuclear thing that goes off. It creates the greatest climate of fear that mankind has ever experienced. That's when they show up. That's when they show up, Phil, and they will say, we created all life on this planet. We started the world's religions, world civilizations. Now it's this critical juncture in human history. We're back to usher mankind into a golden age. And that starts the beginnings of the one world global government and the one world religious system. That's where we're headed, which was prophesied 2,000 years ago and even to 3,000 years ago. I'm not making this stuff up. It's there. You just got to know where to look.
So we basically by the proliferation of nuclear arms, have we accelerated? Have we instigated them being on the scene? Do you think?
Well, that's, in my opinion, that's the trigger. My late business partner Richard Shaw and I, we have 11 films in the Watchers series. And we broke the story on this. I'm boasting, but we did. We broke the story. Robert Salas was the head guy of the Maelstrom missile base in Montana. And there was a UFO that parked right over the gate, and turned off all 10 ICBMs, intercontinental ballistic missiles, just shut them out. How is that even possible? How is it even possible? And when you look at the progression, and I've written about this and continue to write about it, there's a progression. So 1945, you have Nagasaki and Hiroshima. The two atomic bombs are dropped in Japan. 1947, just not even 2 years, it's like less than that, you had the Roswell event. Why did that ship was deliberately crashed at Roswell? Because the 509th Bombing Group is stationed in Roswell. Who were the 509th Bombing Group? They're the guys, they're the bombing group that dropped the atomic weapons, the atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. So 45, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, 47, the Roswell event, at the 509th Bombing Group, of which Jesse Marcel Sr. is the intelligence officer. He handled the wreckage. The wreckage, some of the wreckage is still there, like we talked about earlier. And then in 1948, May 14th, 1948, Israel becomes a nation. So people can say whatever they want about Israel. Amos 9, 14, and 15. Amos is this Old Testament prophet. This thing is written thousands of years ago. And it says this, I will bring back the captives of my people, Israel. Let that sink in. I will bring back the captives of my people, Israel. They will build the waste cities and inhabit them. Check, I've been to Israel. The waste cities are rebuilt. They will plant vineyards and drink the wine from them. In Israel, I've seen the vineyards. They will also plant gardens and eat the fruit from them. I've been to Israel. I've eaten the fruit. Here's the kicker. I will plant them in their land, and never again will they be plucked up out of the land I have given them, says the Lord your God. 1948, after almost 2,000 years of diaspora, in a day, in an instant. And that scripture that I was just reading from Amos 9:14, this is Rabbi Jason Sobel told me this, which blew me out of the water. That scripture was being read in all the synagogues globally on May 14th, 1948. Globally, because all the synagogues are in sync. They read from the same passage of the Torah and then the Tanakh. They're all reading the same scripture on that day, May 14th, 1948. That is a cosmic connection. And people don't understand, you know, look, all nations on earth are corrupt. I get that. And isn't it funny how people, the young people will go, oh, from the river to the sea, Palestine must be free. Well, they don't talk about the horrific atrocities that were committed on October 7th. They don't talk about that, where 1,200 people were mercilessly slaughtered in the most heinous, disgusting, barbaric way. Israel, God's prophetic time clock. It starts the end times ticking. Israel, it's the time, we're moving into a time, some people call it the tribulation, but it's the time of Jacob's trouble, where the God of the Bible is going to deal with Israel all over again. And I think we're looking at the Ezekiel 38 prophecy, which has never been fulfilled. So that talks about a confederacy of nations. Russia, Turkey, and Iran are the top three. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. But then it's also, you know, with Daniel 2:43 prophecy about mingling with the seed of men. So we've also got that. So basically that's
exactly what, isn't it? Daniel 2:40 says, their seed will mingle with the seed of men, but they will not cleave to them. The word cleave is the same word that we get in the Genesis account of marriage. There is no marriage.
Yes.
They're taking what they want, and that's exactly what we see, stolen seed, evil harvest, right there.
Hang on, hold it up. There we go.
Right,
yeah. Thank you. Okay. No, that's exactly right, because you know, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave
marriage.
one to another, even as iron not mixed with clay. So basically, it's a bit of a convoluted way of saying, look, you know, keeping things separate. So there won't be any unity. There will just be keeping things separate, because iron doesn't mix with clay. It's and then Daniel 2:44 goes on to state that in the days of these kings shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed. And there is talk of heaven being, because there's 3 levels to heaven, so that heaven being on earth, and he will have 1,000-year reign, you know, Lord Jesus. So, you know, where is our Lord and Savior now? If these entities are, I'm not going to say, I know you don't like the D word, you don't like the D word, you like Luciferian, which is fine, I get that. And it is right. I think you are completely right, because a demon is more singular. You know, when you say, oh, they're demons, no, because there's many levels of different demons.
There's a hierarchy.
So these Luciferian entities, which are manipulating us. Yeah, thank you for that. Are showing themselves to us in a manner in which they believe is acceptable to us. It might be drones in Jersey. It may be drones which happened in Lakenheath base in the UK, Mildenhall base in the UK, because it's acceptable. Oh, look, LA, it's a drone. Well, actually, no, it's not. We don't actually know what it is because it hasn't got FAA lighting, you know, and it's obviously not an approved large over 25 kilo drone. So it kind of like all of these things all stitched together, and they're showing us one thing, that they are here. But where do you think our Lord Jesus is?
He's waiting to come back. He's waiting for prophecy to be fulfilled. He will come back, because we know from Revelation 19, where it says, I saw heaven standing open, and there before me was a white horse, whose rider is faithful and true. That's Jesus. His eyes are like flaming fire. On his head are many crowns. He is dressed in a robe dipped in blood. Dressed in a robe. No, he has a name written on himself that no one but he himself knows. He is dressed in a robe dipped in blood, and he is called the Word of God. In the beginning was the Word was with God, the Word was God. He was with God in the beginning. All things were created by him, and without him was not anything made that was made. He was the light of men. Light shines over darkness, the darkness comprehends it not. Then it goes back to Revelation 19. I just inserted that what the Word was, so your listeners can understand that the Word is Jesus. The armies of heaven rode with him on white horses, dressed in fine linen, white and clean. Out of his mouth comes a sharp sword with which to strike the nations. He will rule them with a rod of iron. He is dressed in a robe dipped in blood, and on his thigh and on his vesture is written King of Kings, Lord of Lords. That's when he comes back at the Battle of Armageddon. And that's it. And when he comes back, that sword, he just stops holding them together. He just says, I get it, you hate me. You know, I know whose side you're on, but I'm holding you together, even though I created you. I'm just going to stop holding you together. So read Revelation 18.
I think that's the key, LA. He created us. He's inside us. And I think that which is inside us, including obviously our souls, that is what this Luciferian agenda is after. That is something that they don't have.
Oh, you nailed it. You nailed it.
Don't have.
They want our souls. They want our souls.
Do.
I'm not sure how much longer I can go on, because I have a hard.
No, that's fine. That's all right, mate. That's okay. Just wanted to quickly ask you also, but just one thing. One of the most unsettling rungs of disclosure you discuss is the abductions and genetic breeding program. You've interviewed, and I was interested about this, you've interviewed abductees such as Karen Wilkinson, who reported carrying multiple pregnancies that were physically verified by her OB or gynecologist in the UK before being mysteriously terminated. You interviewed her. Now, in these encounters, if these encounters were purely demonic or spiritual illusions, how was physical pregnancy possible, LA? And how does this equate to
this is what drives me nuts about this. People think this is why the word demon is completely wrong. It's a Luciferian agenda. There's physicality to it, absolute physicality. There's physicality to the ships. There's physicality when a person is abducted and they're impregnated, and in the 3rd month of that pregnancy, these entities come back, re-abduct you, and take that hybrid. Yeah, that's my 1:30. Hold on, we're live. Hi, Henry. How are you?
I'm good. I'm just calling to let you know that we have an appointment between 1 and 3.
Yes, I'll see you then.
And, my about 45 minutes.
Okay, no worries. I'll see you then.
Okay.
Thank you. So here's the deal. She's pregnant. Her OBGYN sees the baby. They see the heartbeat. This is all on film. It's number 4 in our 10 DVD box set. Shameless plug. Streaming.eliamarzulli.net. You need to watch. Do your homework. Watch some of this stuff. And she goes, call my OBGYN. We saw the heartbeat. There's no fetal tissue, no trace of the baby. And this is what, and if you say something like this to people, whoa, because it's the deep end of the pool and people don't have everything in their wheelhouse to even deal with it. It's the days of Noah. It's the days of Noah. And guess what? Number 5 in that film series that we have is on cattle mutilations. On cattle mutilations.
Tell you what, look, I know you got to go. All right, I'll be quick.
I want to finish this. Let me finish this.
Go on then.
This is
please,
really important. So the number 5th film was on cattle mutilations. And we
Yeah.
connected something, which I don't think any other researcher, I could be wrong, any other researcher has ever broached the subject. So cattle are mutilated. We see this all over the United States. Udders are taken, sex organs are cored out. There's no blood left in the animal at all. No blood. I'm going to show you. These are actual pictures that were sent to me by a woman, and you can see it right here. No blood in the animal. No blood. Notice these are different cows, right? And what we see, let me show you something. We see parts completely cored out with surgical precision. Surgical precision. There's absolutely no blood left in the animal at all. No blood left in the animal at all. So we know about this. And the animal is left in the farmer's field. The scavengers won't get near it, won't touch it. No blood. Sex organs are cored out. Eyes are removed. The jaws stripped. Different places. In our film, we show that when you can take the blood from a cow and you can work with it and you can use it in a human transfusion. So this is conjecture. This, by the way, the number 5, the cattle mutilation film, watch it in the daytime, folks. Seriously, this is no hype. Watch it in the daytime. Get prayed up before you watch it. It's the darkest film I've ever worked on. There's no happy moment here. There's no, oh, I'm glad that's over. I feel so much better. No, you walk away from that film going, oh my gosh, what's going on? Because we believe that they are using the blood and the material from the cow to create an artificial womb for these hybrid entities that they're removing from the women who have been impregnated, because that little hybrid entity that's only 3 months old can't live outside the womb. That's why when they go in, they take the whole thing and then they put it into an artificial womb, which experiencers talk about.
Yeah. No, I've heard that. I've heard that. Yeah, it's quite a safe haven. From a DNA point of view, it's with the wombs of cattle, they are able to support
There you go.
human life. So I believe. There's so much I wanted to talk to you about. I wanted to talk to you about crop circles. I wanted to talk to you about giants, Nephilim. I wanted to talk to you about.
Phil, there's 34 films and 16 books. I mean, there's a corpus of work. We've been on for a little over an hour. I mean, we've scratched the surface. So you'll have to have me back on. Pick one topic and we'll do a deep dive.
Okay, all right then. I want to do that. I'm going to let you go because I know you got to go, mate. I know, and I do listen. I do appreciate you coming on, and everyone on the
my
chat.
honor.
You know, really. I mean, we all love you to bits. Thank you ever so much, mate. We do appreciate it. All right,
All righty.
I'll
We'll
catch you
talk
soon.
soon. Take care.
Bye-bye. Okay, brilliant. So pleased he came on. Trying to get, he's such a busy man. Trying to get him on is like, it's like a frog on a hot coal. You just can't get hold of him. But he's absolutely brilliant. Minefield information and just such a nice guy. Really such a nice guy. I'm going to have a little look at the comments. I'm sorry that we're running out of time. Let's have a look. Have the comments and see what's been going on. I just want to give a shout out. Let's have a look. I also Keith Aston as well. Oh, got hang on. Hello.
I just want to make sure I'm uploaded 100%. You're good, right?
We're good. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, we're
just
good.
double
Yeah,
checking.
yeah. No, we're good, mate. I'm just going through
Okay.
the. I'm just going to see if there's any questions. That's all from the audience. Just going to see if there's any questions. But not that I can see. But I know time's a bit of an issue. But listen, we'll do it again, LA.
Absolutely. Sounds good. God
All
bless
right,
you.
take
Take
care.
care.
Thank you. Bye bye. God bless. Okay, right. Let's have a look. Keith Ashton, I'm so sorry about your holiday, mate. Awful. Really, it deserves to get a refund on that one. Let's have a look. Roxy said, yeah, welcome. Thank you very much for admin, Rox. Kate, thank you very much for being on moderating and fabulous prompts you've been putting up. Thank you very much. Let's have a look. Ashton, Kate, we have got, of course, Dawn, Sasquatch Sister. Thank you very much for being on and moderating. Let's have a look. Let's see who else. Oh, we had Stuart on as well. Hey, Stuart, Paranormal Walks. Yeah. If you want to see a guy who's really got a big pair, all right, check out Stuart. Yeah, because he has got a big pair. Not that I know firsthand. I've met him, but we're not that friendly. But he goes out in the Cannock Chase at night. Nothing really rattles him except a pigeon. But that's another story. You want to check that out actually with the pigeons. They're a different type of pigeon in Cannock, I think. Let's have a look. Tobias, hello Tobias. It's all been a bit of a rush. To be honest, I'll be honest with you. I was talking to Kate about this and Roxy about it. I messaged and be emailing with LA, and he knew like the time and all the rest of it, but he's such a busy guy. I didn't get any email back, and it was counting down. Sort of like the time before I go live, and I was like, and I was doing like Facebook live as well. Now YouTube, you can get away with being 10-15 minutes late, doesn't matter. If you don't hit say 8 o'clock and say I go on at 8:15, really doesn't matter too much. YouTube will swallow it. Facebook, they're like, no, and kick you off. They don't like being, they haven't got a lot of patience, really. You've got to be bolt on the time. So, of course, I was trying to be bolt on the time. I kept looking at the email, looking at the studio, thinking, oh, where's LA? Where's LA? Because I had a different kind of promo set up. Do you want to see the promo that I set up? I'll play the promo. Hold on, look, here we go. All right.
A dusty Afghan cave system, a U.S. military patrol didn't find insurgents. According to whistleblower reports, they encountered a hostile 12-foot humanoid entity that lunged at them with a crude spear. Decades earlier, an archaeologist working on Catalina Island unearthed a skeleton measuring nearly 9 feet tall with 6 fingers on each hand. And at the 1947 Roswell crash site, investigators looking past the spiked perimeter recovered an unidentifiable, tightly folded aluminum alloy that defied standard metallurgical testing. These aren't isolated internet myths. They are physical, measurable artifacts that do not fit into the established historical record. Mainstream academia operates under a strict adherence to Darwinian evolution. In this biological framework, there is no room for anomalous physical evidence or supernatural events. Because of this rigid framework, major historical institutions routinely lock away, ignore, or outright hide archaeological discoveries that contradict the accepted evolutionary timeline. By deliberately suppressing physical evidence, the academic establishment has created a massive intellectual void. We are left to figure out what these anomalies actually represent. Look at the extremely elongated skulls uncovered in the Changos necropolis and the Paracas region of Peru. This diagram compares a standard human skull profile on the left to the extreme rear-heavy elongation of a Paracas skull on the right. While tribal practices like cradle boarding can flatten human heads, they cannot physically expand the total bone mass to this extreme shape. The anatomy deviates even further. Notice the top of the cranium. A normal human skull features a sagittal suture, a natural zigzag seam splitting the bone. The Paracas skull possesses a completely solid, unbroken bone plate. Turn the skulls over to examine the base. The foramen magnum, the hole where the spinal column connects, sits near the center of a human skull. On the anomaly, that connection point is shoved entirely to the back of the occipital plate. Preliminary DNA testing on hair taken directly from these skulls yielded genetic markers originating in Europe and the Middle East, genetics that simply should not exist in ancient Peru. Compounding anatomical evidence, the bone mass, the missing sutures, and the spinal placement points toward a non-human genetic reality rather than human modification. Investigator L.A. Marzulli points to suppressed biblical texts to explain these physical anomalies. He identifies these beings as the Nephilim. According to ancient accounts, they are the physical, hybrid offspring created when interdimensional entities mated with human women. Genesis 3:15 describes an ancient, literal seed war fought over the bloodlines of humanity. The massive skeletons found on Catalina Island and the elongated skulls found in Peru represent the tangible, archaeological remains of this ancient interdimensional incursion. The physical reality of these ancient remains provides a framework for understanding modern reports of recovered biological entities at crash sites. The reported crafts are physical, nuts and bolts machines engineered specifically to transport these entities from point A to point B within our dimension. Even the widely reported gray aliens fit into this structure. Rather than extraterrestrial visitors from another planet, they operate as biological automatons, essentially manufactured meat suits controlled by a Luciferian hierarchy. This technological phase represents the modern front of the ancient interdimensional seed war. If these entities possess such highly advanced technology, why do they rely on a secretive cat-and-mouse game instead of immediately revealing themselves? The hierarchy is waiting for a tipping point. They need a moment of ultimate global vulnerability, where collective human fear reaches its absolute peak. This requires a catastrophic trigger event, such as a sudden and massive nuclear detonation. In the immediate aftermath, global communications and internet infrastructure, as well as air travel, would instantly shut down, leaving the population entirely desperate. This manufactured climax of terror and isolation provides the exact environment the entities require to launch the final phase of their agenda. In the midst of the chaos, these entities will present themselves as benevolent saviors, arriving to rescue a broken world. They will claim to be our original extraterrestrial creators, the architects who seeded life on Earth and genetically manipulated early man. By weaponizing our suppressed, forgotten history, they will use this lie to usher humanity into a globally controlled golden age. Recognizing the physical, archaeological evidence of the ancient seed war today is the only way humanity can insulate itself from this interdimensional deception tomorrow.
Yeah. So, there you go. Right. Okay, I'm back here. So, yeah, that was going to be my like intro and stuff, but I didn't know if LA was going to come on because like but he made it just within time. So, it was a bit of a, do you know, I don't think the show's ever going to go like kind of linear and straightforward, you know, but I think it's kind of like, you know, quirky and good for that anyway, you know, that cock up factor. I think if it didn't happen, I think you'd miss it. Let's face it. Anyway, thank you ever so much for listening. Do appreciate it. I've enjoyed your weekend. Take care of yourself. Gonna have LA on again. I'll be talking to him, and we'll arrange another get together so we can dive deeper into. Let me know what subject you would like to know, that you know, a deep dive on with LA. That would be something that would be really cool. In the comments, let me know specifically, right, what you would like. Or what I'll do is I'll put a poll up. If I put a poll up with all the different sort of subjects I was thinking of, like kind of the Kandahar giant, Nephilim, we'll put those as one, okay? We'll bolt them together as one because Kandahar giant, Nephilim, probably, yeah. I know LA's got his own thoughts on Dogman and Bigfoot. And I think they will be bolted on to the Nephilim subject. So we've got that. All right, let's have a Nephilim. I'll put that up in the poll. UFO, UAP, aliens, structures, you know, we did talk about a little bit about that tonight. And anything else? The breeding program, you know, are we manipulated by aliens? Are we so different physically, so much more laughably, let's say, advanced? You know, kind of you wouldn't think it when I went into Tesco's earlier. Honestly, I went up to the cashier. Do you know where the I looked for some toilet rolls and toothpaste? What? Yeah, toilet rolls and toothpaste. No, I don't. All right. Will you work here? That no. Right, okay, then I'll find it myself. All right. You know. So, but anyway, you know, we're so much more advanced, haha, than any other species. Is that because we've been manipulated? That could be another subject. So let me know. Bring up your own as well if you want a deep dive, and I will do my homework so that I get, you know, brings forward some really taxing questions, you know, so we can get some proper good deep answers, you know. But I'll put a poll up. If you got anything else you can think of, let me know in the comments. Okay. Please, if you're not subscribed, it really helps, doesn't cost a bean. Follow on Facebook. My followers are actually not too bad. I've got about 1,500 followers, I think, which is really cool. Thank you very much. But yeah, follow on Facebook, also on YouTube. You know, subscribe really helps, and our members is growing as well. I want to thank everyone for being, you know, sort of members, for being a member, because it does support the channel. Because you know, I try and do a lot of like kind of getting out and, you know, going to see different stuff, and it helps, you know. So yeah, any gems, stars, whatever you want to do, really helps the channel. We've been going a while now, and you know, and if there's anything that we can change in the channel, let us know in the comments as well. Okay. But you know, sort of like, you know, anyone that puts like in the comment, yeah, change you, Phil, you know, I've sort of read that all before, so don't worry about it. Other than that, have a lovely weekend. Thank you for watching. Take care of yourselves. Okay. All right. Bye-bye. God bless. Bye-bye.
I know what I saw out there.